SQL Tran has extensive reports built in, so I'm quickly going to go over them. If you go into the overview screen, we see some errors here, we see some statistics, we see object complexities, right? But this is abbreviated view of them. If you go into reports, we'll see more. First, objects errors and grouped errors. These errors here are real problems. For example, if our translation would crash on specific object, something unexpected, we have no such errors here. Then we go to objects with warnings. Warnings are actually the limitation detections. So if you look here in reports, objects with warnings, show all, we'll see all of these issues for all objects and then separately for views and procedures and functions and tables. Now, if we go into objects could not be created, we would need to have the target staging database connected. So as we have not yet connected to staging database, there will be no problems with creating anything because we don't have target staging connection yet. And objects complexity. Again, we have this in abbreviated form here, and if we go to reports, object complexity, we have just a list of how many of each object type, and then we have a full list. And you'll see if you go, for example, into tables, they are graded all very simple because tables are internally simple and easy to translate. If you're going to use in this demo database, mostly very simple, we have some simples, procedures, some are even medium here. And as mentioned earlier, complexity, this level here, is determined directly by the number of nodes or code structure elements in those statements. Okay, the next one is objects referenced by, objects depending on. That's detailed equivalent of the data lineage here. So the data lineage, let's see in our hands here, for example, or here, right? So we have the quick representation here, and in reports, we can see, all right, what objects are referenced by what other objects. So we can see that UFN leading zeros function is referenced by table sales customer. Let's investigate. If I click on that sales customer, it's referencing function DPO UFN leading zeros. Okay, objects depending on. For any object, it tells us what does it depend on. For example, the views will typically depend on tables or other views. So if I click this one and check it here, we'll see, yep, it depends on these tables. All right. Translation percentage summary and testing percentage summary. That's, of course, an approximate measure. And I don't even like such measures because individual employees can vary an incredible amount in how much they can achieve per day. But we need some way of showing, let's say, relative complexity of specific problems that we have, right? Relative time of how much effort we need to manually do. So this, in cases where we can handle things on our own, we'll show you how many hours SQL Tran has saved you. And in cases where there's a problem translating, we'll tell you, okay, this requires manual translation, and this is how many days you will need to do it manually, right? So if I click here, yep, this is XML method. So that's what we estimate how much time you will need to do it manually. All right, and billing events. This is not interesting when you have your own license or when you're using a dedicated bill, for example, for Microsoft. But if you would be using pay-as-you-go by just independently going to Azure Marketplace and purchasing our tool, you would see exactly why did we bill you and when.